This one took a good hit in the frame, and so this part is destroyed. I have a Dodge Ram here. This one took a good hit in the frame right here. Knocked the frame over, buckled it right where this piece slides into this joint of the frame, and so this part is destroyed. Luckily, they actually sell that front stub. So I have a new piece, and it actually, I gotta cut that one out, and it slides inside of there. It slides inside the other piece, and it gets welded in that way. And then it also gets this upper apron assembly piece. First, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to get our measuring system out, and I'm going to measure the frame. I want to make sure every other part of the frame besides this damaged portion is in good shape. If not, I might have to do some pulling to square up the frame. So I want to check everything else on the frame, make sure it's good. If it's not, I'll fix it. If it is, then I'll go ahead and I can cut this section off. So first, I have to match the measuring system to the vehicle. So I have to go to 5 points in the center section of the vehicle that are undamaged, and that will match the measuring system to the truck. Then I could go up to the front and make my measurements up front. There's all different attachments, and it tells you which ones to use depending on which point you're going to. It's usually a bolt or a hole. So my first point's going to be right up here. You probably can't see it. Then my second point, I put a cone in here, and I go to the front part of this slotted hole right here. So now the measuring system is matched to the vehicle and knows where it's sitting. So I can come up here to the front and make my measurements. Well, unfortunately, not only is this side of the frame way off, but this side is pushed over about 12 millimeters. I thought that might have been the case. I was hoping it wasn't, but it's not buckled or anything. So I should be able to pull it back over and get it squared up where it's supposed to be. Everything behind these points is all fine. Everything measures out fine. It's just this front stub section. So the bad part is I'm gonna have to put this in truck clamps, which is a lot more complicated than clamping down a regular unibody vehicle. But in order to pull that over, there's no way I'll be able to do that without putting it in truck clamps. So I'll show you guys how I'm gonna clamp this one down. On the computer here, they have a diagram of all the different parts I gotta use in order to put these clamps together. So there's a mixture of different attachments, and for this vehicle, I'm gonna go ahead and put this clamp together. And this is how it clamps up to the rear. And then I'll show you guys how it clamps to the front of the frame. So the way this attaches in the back is it has this cup and another cup here, and they're gonna sit over that bolt right there. And when I tighten everything down, that'll lock down the back, and then the front attaches a little differently. Now I am onto the front clamp, and the front it actually just clamps the frame, it squeezes it. So I'm going to put this one together now. And they have a measurement for exactly where they want this. And you come off the center of the rear wheel here, and they want it 2,030 millimeters, which is right here. Right about there. And the front also has this extension to raise it up a few inches. Now, whenever you go to tighten these clamps up, you have to really think about the order of which bolts you tighten up first, because if you don't tighten up in the right order, it will actually bind up if they're not tightened up in the proper order. So the first thing is I'm going to tighten up the top clamp part. Well, this one is all locked down to the rack, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make some rough pulls. Pull this over, and then I'll tweak this one over a little bit, and then I'll set up the measuring system again and make some measurements. I'll have to recenter it to the vehicle to make my measurements again. I am going to go ahead and rematch the measuring system to the vehicle since it moved. You got to re-center it to the vehicle. Then I will come up to the front and start dialing in those frame rails exactly where they're supposed to be. I got this one really close on that first pull. This side is actually just about perfect. It went right back into place. This side I moved a long ways. I'm gonna move it about 10 more millimeters. And then I'm gonna go ahead and we'll be in good shape and I'll get it cut off. I got this one all squared up. My right side is perfect, exactly where it's supposed to be. This side's close. It's a few millimeters off, but it's close, and everything beyond this point, everything else is perfect. So I'm good to go ahead and get this section of the rail cut off. So I'm gonna dive into that now and get this section chopped off. So this top part, I'm replacing as well, but I'm gonna focus on the frame rail first and get it done. But I'm just gonna chop this off just to get this section kind of completely out of my way. Then I'll get back to this later, but I'm gonna focus on the frame rail, get it cut out. I'm gonna have to cut it, and then I'll trim out from inside of there the rest of the way. So I have this frame section all fit up. I got it measuring out perfectly, so it is ready to weld. So I am going to go ahead and get the MIG welder out, and I'm going to zap this all the way around. And then it also gets welds on the inside of this oval hole here. Then after that, I will start fitting up the upper rail section and get all that worked out. Well, first start cutting this one off, then start fitting the new one up. So this is cavity wax. I'm going to hose inside of this frame rail to protect it's corrosion protection for the inside for all the area that I welded any bare metal. And this sprays in a 360-degree pattern. You can see right there. And I'll hose this all the way down in here. Alright, now on to the upper rail assembly. I have to replace. Now this piece, it slides in way back up in here. In order to put the whole piece in, you have to take this whole piece off, and you also have to take the dash out because you'll be welding right up against where the dash goes, and it could catch fire. But they actually make a sectioning procedure. They have a procedure where I could cut this right here, right in here, and it shows I could cut this anywhere up in this area. So I'm probably gonna cut them both. Probably cut this one here and this one here. And this is the repair procedure. It shows anywhere in the green you could section it in. So pretty much anywhere in the top area, and then they want me to go in the back of this bottom area. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mark this. I'm gonna go 50 millimeters back from this hole for my bottom cut. Then my top cut, I'm gonna go 40 millimeters, can't talk, 40 millimeters back from this hole. So they want me to take the old piece and cut a 2-inch backer, which is what I did right here. And I'm gonna have to cut each side and make it a little smaller because it has to go inside of this old piece. And then same thing with the top rail. And then when I slide it inside of there, then the new one will slide over it and it'll be used as a backer whenever I weld those seams up all the way around. So I'm gonna split these. So I'm going to do some comparison measurements. First I'm going to check the length on each side. And that's dead on. Now I'm going to check and see if it's square. Pretty much dead on. Perfect. So I am going to go ahead and weld both these seams, get this piece all welded in, and then I will get this thing down off the frame rack.